Emotions, they are such a luxury products.
They give these certificates saying that these people are qualified mental health professionals, and they're not. They have no idea what they're doing.
It's the largest population of any country in human history. 1.4 billion people live in China, and 100 million of them have a mental illness. Are they getting the help that they need? Mental health awareness is slowly increasing in China, with the government taking a relatively new interest in the system.
But the problem is they create an initiative to provide mental health support for their students, and there's nobody qualified to run the programs. And so they send out a request for proposal, and the proposals that come back are, pardon my French, but they're kind of crap.
That's a clinical psychologist who's been working in China for the last 5 years. She didn't want to give me her name. She says the government's increased awareness in mental health is not necessarily a good sign. After being debated for 27 years, China's very first mental health law came into effect in 2013. The law aims to standardise mental health services and stop the stigmatisation of mental illness. The clinical psychologist says the system can't improve because the professionals that exist are often not properly qualified.
Last year, the government scrapped the qualification system. They had it for a few years, and they found out that they had no way to ensure the quality of the counselors because there's no practical aspect of it. They just have these people read a book and then write a test, and then they give these certificates saying that these people are qualified mental health professionals, and they're not. They have no idea what they're doing.
In 2014, the World Health Organization found there were 1.7 psychiatrists for every 100,000 people in China. Tim Yang is currently studying psychology at Fudan University in Shanghai. He says the psychology higher education system is trying to improve.
They are trying to start another exam system, just include the exam, include the practice time, include the training time. They are trying to build a system in China, just like America.
So what are the mental health professionals in China doing at the moment?
They know that the existing mental health field is still developing in China, so they go to Hong Kong or they go to the States and they get master's degrees, so they get further education. And a lot of them are actually getting licensed abroad and then coming back.
The clinical psychologist says this is a slow process and the lack of qualification can be harmful for people who try to seek help.
A lot of times issues are there, but people don't seek out counseling. One, because there's not a lot of qualified licensed mental health professionals. A lot of people who are brave enough to go to a therapist are often disappointed because these therapists aren't well trained and don't know what they're doing, so they end up damaging more than they help.
Melody Rawan is 26 and currently completing a master's degree at Fudan University in Shanghai. She says even at her lowest point mentally, she didn't want to seek professional help.
Last year was the hardest time, I think, in my life so far. I felt like I was on the urge of getting depressed. I didn't have the courage to go to clinic to get therapy.
She says the stigma surrounding mental health made it harder to communicate with her family.
Of course, my parents that they cannot provide a solution for me because they don't. It's beyond their ability, and I'm not expecting that.
Shanghai has a population of over 24 million people, and in 2017 the region had the highest English proficiency rate in the country. Lifeline is the city's only English-speaking helpline. Corinne Horenko is the executive director of Lifeline Shanghai and says the volunteer helpline has 60 staff who are able to speak up to 12 languages. She says it's difficult for China to provide appropriate mental health services for the vast number of people that need it.
The largest mental health hospital here has 3,000 beds, but a doctor's on shift overnight and maybe they have 900 patients. So the volume is enormous.
Both Corinne and the clinical psychologist say they have seen an increase in younger people using their services. They say young people in China often struggle to seek professional help because mental illness is heavily stigmatised. The clinical psychologist says this stigma is often caused by education and family pressures.
Because of the one-child policy in the past, there's a huge pressure for that child to succeed and not shame their family.
Melody Rawan says the pressure to succeed in China is often overwhelming.
If you are from a small town, if you want to really get educated and get higher education, you need to work day and night just to compete with competitors nationwide.
In 2016, over 26 million students were enrolled in undergraduate degrees across the country.
To get enrolled by university to me is so important because it's the only chance for me. Otherwise, if I didn't get enrolled, All left for me is just to get married.
Executive Director of Lifeline Shanghai, Corinne Horenko, says helplines in China are an important service for those not comfortable seeing a doctor.
The medical system here does work differently. People will go to the hospital to see a doctor. That's the natural approach.
In 2016, the helpline introduced an online chat as a way to combat stigma and target their increasing number of younger users. That year, Lifeline also brought Are You OK Day into China, running workshops across Shanghai, something Are You OK Australia doesn't do.
The most important thing for us is to raise awareness, first of all, of the service, and then we're always fighting the stigma.
Lifeline is just one service in a city that has a population the same size as Australia. Melody Rawan says awareness about mental health needs to become normalised in China.
I am just like 1 in a million. You can see like there are such a huge group of people out there share the same feeling, but they don't talk like we don't have like media and we don't have like the platform for these feelings.
Last year, the World Health Organization found 54 million people in China were diagnosed with depression alone. The organisation says in order to improve the mental health system, China needs an expanded mental health workforce, affordable access to mental health care, and it needs to end the shame. Janelle Miles, Western Independent.